It shouldn't be much of a surprise to most of you watching that the journey to becoming really successful with women is a lot less about pickup games, lines, and routines, and a lot more about developing yourself as a man. I've learned long ago that if a guy has really worked on himself, then there really aren't many tricks that he needs to learn in order to attract women. Of the thousands of men that I've worked with over the last decade, it's really obvious that the men who have a really strong sense of purpose and passion and direction in their lives are the men who don't really have to learn that much. They just need to learn some basic conversational skills, and women will be drawn to them really easily. And one of the most important things a man needs to learn about himself is what is his purpose and what is his passion in life. Not just because a man with purpose and passion is massively attractive to women, but also because a man with passion and purpose is a man who loves the life that he's living. Today, I'm going to talk to you about why women are so attracted to men with passion and purpose, as well as how you can learn to discover what your purpose and passions are in your life. Keep watching to find out. What's the stereotype that's the least attractive to women? Well, I'll tell you right at the top of the list is the guy who lives at home with his mom, has no purpose in life except to play video games all day. What's the second least attractive kind of man? The man who works 9 to 5 at a job he hates, lives a life that has nothing interesting in it. He goes to work every day, he comes home every evening, maybe goes out for drinks with friends once a week, and that's it. There's nothing that inspires him to jump out of bed in the morning, any morning of his life. There is nothing interesting in his life to talk about because there's nothing that excites him. He lives a life that doesn't excite him. So you have to ask yourself, why would a woman want to date this guy? Would you want to hang out with this guy in all honesty? If you could go and you could have a drink with guy A who has a 9 to 5 job and doesn't care about his life, doesn't do anything interesting, and really isn't that passionate. Or guy B who maybe has a 9 to 5 job, but on the weekends he likes to go surfing and he's also taking salsa classes through the week. Who's going to make for a better dinner date? Even as a platonic, like you and another guy, right? The truth is that we are all drawn to human beings who have passion and drive in their lives. We all want to be someone who has passion and purpose in their lives. But unfortunately, a lot of us, and I know it's a lot of you watching as well, get trapped in this cycle of doing the same thing every day without introducing or focusing on bringing passion into your world. Now, I've got to jump in here before I go on, because I do need to say this. A lot of times when I make these videos, guys will put in the comments, oh, well, why do guys have to put in all the work to be passionate and have purpose? Why don't women ever have to do this work? This is ridiculous. MGTOW. The answer is, you know what? If I was single and I was out tomorrow meeting women and I met a woman who had no drive and no purpose and had a really boring life she didn't care much about, I wouldn't date her. It's that simple. But the truth is, many guys aren't as picky as me. Many guys have really low standards for women. They're like, are you kind of cute? Yep. You got boobs? Yep. I'm in. If guys would be more picky, then women would have to adhere to these standards as well. But there's no reason that you shouldn't have those standards, because if you hold yourself to those standards, you absolutely must hold women to the same standards, or it's not fair. I agree. But more than just being someone that people want to hang around, because everyone wants to hang around people with drive and passion, there's actually more to it. There's important signaling that goes on with a guy who has no passion and drive and purpose in his life. So I know that women are often accused of being gold diggers, and I don't agree with that. I mean, I do agree that, look, there's certainly something for women, there's certainly something interesting and exciting about a guy who's super loaded. You can do interesting things, go on cool holidays, yada, yada, yada. But on the whole, most women, they don't need a guy to be super wealthy, but they do need him to have his act together. Because one of the things women do look for in a man is stability. And I don't just mean financial stability, but that's a part of it. If you can't scrounge 2 cents together, you're not creating a stable environment financially. But I also mean emotional stability. So if you picture the guy who has a 9 to 5 job, who hates his life, and something seriously goes wrong in his life, how resilient do you think he's going to be? And how good do you think he's going to be at holding it on to get all together or recovering from massive loss? Because life's like that. Life will include massive losses. Things will go wrong. People will get sick. Relationships will end. Parents will die. All this kind of thing is going to go on. How well do you hold your life together when you've got nothing else, when you've got actually nothing in your life that drives you? And how well do you think you're going to cope with this stuff if you've got passions in your life, if you've got drive, if you've got a purpose, if there's a thing in life that drives you? I know not all my watchers like all my content, but I'm really driven about helping men become more successful with women and actually creating balance in the dating world, creating a world where men and women aren't bitter at each other and constantly at each other's necks and that both sides get what they want. That drives me. That gets me out of bed in the morning with a smile on my face. Therefore, when things go wrong, I've still got things in my life that excite me, that drive me, that make life worth pursuing. And women know this. Women intrinsically, subconsciously, they get this. So when you got stuff going on, you got drive and passion, they know you're going to be way more stable than your passionless, driveless, purposeless counterparts. So how do you get started? Like, how do you even begin to try to find your purpose? How do you begin to find your passions? Well, it does begin with passions. Your purpose follows from that. And in the beginning, really, the idea is to start small. I recommend to everyone, and I did this myself as well, get a sheet of paper or a Google Docs sheet, whatever you're going to do, and create a list. Create a list of all the things you'd like to try. So you might start a list and you might say, oh, I've always wanted to give photography a go, or I've always wanted to try salsa dancing or martial arts, or, I've always wanted to go on more bushwalks, or I've always wanted to try rock climbing, or I've always wanted to try whatever, painting. Whatever it is, whatever the activities are that you think would be interesting to try, start listing them down. And once you've created that list, start looking for ways you can actually try these things, dabble in these different activities you think might be interesting. Whatever city around the world you live in, there are meetup groups dedicated to different hobbies and passions. There are salsa schools, and there are martial arts studios, and there are painting studios, and there are life drawing places. And whatever the hobby is, if you live in a city and not a tiny little township, there's options for you to try these things out. And so, I highly recommend you create a time. Maybe every week you try something new, or you're engaged in one or two new things. And you keep going, you keep trying things until you find activities that stick, activities that you genuinely enjoy. And while you're at these activities, you're going to meet people. Do I get along with these people? Are these people my people? Do I click with them? Yes, no, if not, move on. And you're going to start to find things that just stick. You're going to suddenly go, I really like salsa. I'm going to go every week. I really like life drawing. I don't know. I'm going to go every week. I like being creative. It's my creative, output. And when you do that, you suddenly bring passion into your life. And when guys do this, when guys start to have passion in their life, things that they really enjoy outside of the 9 to 5, they smile more. They walk differently. You'll find there's a different energy to them. They live more interesting lives. They've got things to talk about when they talk to women. And you'll find that women will enjoy being around these guys more. Not to mention the dating process with these guys is more enjoyable because men can invite women to share in their passions. And when you've got passions in your lives, they're going to really help they're going to start to really show you what your purpose might be. You're going to learn a lot about yourself through your passions, because we as humans, we're defined by the things that we love and we hate. And you're going to start to find your purpose. So, I discovered that I had a passion for helping people. I had a passion for educating. I discovered that I had a passion for dating and relationships and psychology. I enjoyed that stuff. And over time, these formed my purpose, which was School of Attraction, which is making these videos. This is part of my purpose in life. You're going to discover yours too. And maybe yours won't be vocational. Maybe your passion will have nothing to do with making a living. Maybe you'll have your 9 to 5 job, and in your spare time, you're going to really be behind a political cause. You're going to go to rallies, you're going to do stuff. Maybe it's Greenpeace. Maybe it's starting a band in your spare time and it's not your full-time job. But whatever it is, you're going to find your purpose and you're going to run with it. And I'll tell you what, a man who has his purpose, and I've talked to a lot of my coaches and mentors about this, and they all have exactly the same experience. When you've got a really clear sense of purpose and some basic solid social skills, if you want to meet and attract women, all you got to do is put yourself in front of a woman and be you with those little bit of social skills, and women are just going to want to hang around you more. It's that simple. And so, it's really, really important to discover your passions first and then your purpose in life. Have any of you watching done this? Are any of you watching ready to jump onto this challenge? Maybe for the next month, try at least 1 or 2 new activities every week to try to discover your passion. How good do you feel about your life after that month? Are you going to take this on? Go ahead, let me know in the comments below. It's something every guy needs to have, especially if you're that 9-to-5 guy who really hates his life. I know you're out there. Do this. I promise you, it's going to infinitely make your life better. Even if you never talk to a woman for the rest of your life, it's going to make your life infinitely better and more worth watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. I'm Damien. Have a really fantastic week. Take care.